The quiet hum of life on Earth was suddenly shattered. Across the globe, people went about their daily routines, unaware that their entire existence was about to change. It began as a small blip on radars. At first, no one thought much of it. Satellites around Earth had detected irregular readings, but it was nothing more than a passing curiosity, just another anomaly in the vastness of space. Yet, as hours passed, the blip grew into a series of unusual signals that were too precise, too deliberate to be a mere mistake of nature. The world's top scientists and military officials were notified. News channels began to report the strange occurrence, but no one could fully understand the data they were receiving. Some speculated it was an asteroid, while others suggested it could be a meteor shower. But the strange thing was, this object wasn't falling toward Earth. It was moving, traveling toward them. Slowly. Calculated. As the object got closer, the United Nations called an emergency meeting. The world's leaders gathered, uncertain, nervous, and somewhat confused. The world had been warned about the possibility of an alien invasion for decades, but no one had taken it seriously. Now this object was something the world could not ignore. The strange signals were getting clearer, and experts agreed. This was no ordinary asteroid or meteor. It was too controlled, too intelligent. By now, the object had entered Earth's atmosphere, its massive size becoming apparent on every live feed broadcast across the globe. People looked up at the sky, holding their breath, not knowing what to expect. Some believed it was a harbinger of doom, while others clung to hope, thinking it could be a message of peace. The object wasn't like anything Earth had ever seen. It wasn't a typical spacecraft. It looked ancient, vast, and powerful. No human-made ship had ever been designed with such sophistication and scale. It was a long, oblong shape, with sweeping curves that seemed to defy the laws of physics. A deep metallic blue that shimmered in the light as it cut through the clouds. As it descended, the atmosphere itself seemed to warp around it, as if bending to the will of the ship. Fear spread like wildfire across the globe. People wondered if this was the beginning of the end. Governments scrambled to act, ordering military jets into the sky, preparing for the worst-case scenario. However, despite all the preparations, there was no response from the object. No communications, no signs of aggression. The only thing that seemed to matter was its steady, unrelenting descent toward Earth. It was as though the ship knew something humanity didn't, a message far beyond Earth's comprehension. But as it reached the outermost layers of the atmosphere, something extraordinary happened. A deep, reverberating hum filled the air, a sound that no one could place, and yet it seemed to touch something primal in every person who heard it. It was both a warning and an invitation. The ship continued its path, effortlessly cutting through the sky, as if guided by some invisible force. With each passing second, its enormous presence became more undeniable, more real. Its shape began to solidify in the eyes of the people. At first, it appeared as a bright streak in the sky, a distant object on the horizon. But now, as it hovered just above the planet, it was a terrifyingly beautiful marvel of engineering. As it finally came into view for the whole world, it became clear. This was not a simple ship. This was Earth's first star destroyer, a weapon of unimaginable power, designed with precision and purpose. The ship hovered over a vast, barren desert in the middle of nowhere, its gravity fields causing the sand to rise and swirl in ominous spirals beneath it. The world watched as the ship seemed to pause, waiting for something or someone. Then, with a booming resonance that rattled windows across the globe, a large hatch began to open on the ship. The sound was like the rumble of thunder, yet it felt like it was shaking the very core of humanity's reality. The world held its collective breath. The entire planet seemed to freeze in that moment. No one dared to speak, and for a split second, everything felt still. There was no explosion, no weapons discharge. Instead, the hatch revealed something even more astonishing. From within the Star Destroyer emerged not an alien race, but something far more unsettling: human-made technology, perfected, and transported from a future they had never imagined. The realization came too slowly, but it became undeniable. The Star Destroyer wasn't a foreign invasion force. It was Earth's creation. It was humanity's answer to the question of survival. A weapon like no other, born from the minds of Earth's greatest engineers and strategists, powered by a desire to protect, if only they could learn how to use it. The world was no longer just a place under threat. It was a battleground that now belonged to Earth. But the question remained, what would Earth do with this newfound power? And, perhaps even more frightening, was the galaxy prepared for humanity to reveal its true strength? As Earth collectively held its breath, trying to comprehend what was happening, the hatch of the Star Destroyer fully opened. From the ship's massive interior, a beam of light erupted, illuminating the desert below in a dazzling flash. It was as though the entire world was waiting for something to happen, something significant. The air was thick with anticipation. The crew of the Star Destroyer, still a mystery to the world, watched from the shadows of the ship's control room. The Earthlings had no idea that what was about to come next would forever alter the course of history. The moment the light dimmed, a soft, steady hum began to resonate throughout the world, and an unfamiliar voice filled every screen, radio, and device. It was clear but emotionless, almost mechanical in tone. This was no ordinary broadcast. The voice was coming from the Star Destroyer itself, a message that echoed through the vast emptiness of space, but also straight into the hearts of every person on Earth. "We are the Galactic Coalition," the voice announced, "and Earth is no longer alone." For a moment, there was only silence. The realization started to sink in. This wasn't just an accidental encounter. The Star Destroyer was here for a reason, and that reason was much larger than anything Earth could have imagined. The voice continued, its tone shifting slightly, now tinged with authority. "The ship you see before you is Earth's first Star Destroyer. It was designed, built, and entrusted to your species by the Coalition. It represents the beginning of your planet's role in a much larger galaxy." The words hit harder than any physical blow. Earth, the planet that had been isolated from the rest of the galaxy, was now thrust into a conflict far beyond their understanding. They were not alone, and the truth was overwhelming. The Galactic Coalition, a powerful alliance of advanced species, had been watching Earth for centuries. They knew about humanity's potential, their ingenuity, and their resilience. But they also knew that humanity wasn't quite ready to join the larger galactic stage. That is, until now. The Star Destroyer, a technological marvel, had been built by a race of beings far more advanced than humanity. It was designed to serve as the cornerstone of Earth's entry into galactic warfare, a force to be reckoned with. However, with it came a great responsibility. As the world listened, the voice revealed more. "Your people have now earned the right to be part of the Coalition. But this is not a gift. This is a test. The galaxy is at war, and the galactic titans, an ancient and powerful enemy, are preparing to attack. The war is coming, and Earth must choose whether to stand with the Coalition or be wiped out." The words struck fear into every heart. A galactic war. The fate of Earth now rested not on the shoulders of any single individual, but on the collective will of humanity. The Star Destroyer was Earth's weapon, its key to survival. But did humanity have what it took to fight for its place in the galaxy? The revelation wasn't just about the Star Destroyer or the immediate threat of war. It was about humanity's place in the universe. Up until that moment, Earth had been a small, relatively insignificant planet in the grand scheme of the galaxy. But now, they were being asked to step into a larger, more dangerous world. The question lingered in the air. Could humanity live up to the expectations placed upon them? Could they wield such power responsibly, or would they fall prey to the same temptations that had brought down countless other civilizations in the past? As the Galactic Coalition's message ended, a new wave of uncertainty gripped the people of Earth. The Star Destroyer loomed above them, a symbol of both hope and dread. Its massive form was a reminder that humanity's survival now depended on their ability to unite, to make choices that could change the course of the galaxy itself. With the revelation came the weight of responsibility. There was no turning back now. Earth had been thrust into a galactic struggle, and they had to decide whether to rise to the challenge or face annihilation. The eyes of the galaxy were now upon them. Across the world, people watched in awe and fear. Earth had always been isolated, unaware of the vastness of the universe beyond. But now, that isolation had ended. The path forward was uncertain, fraught with danger, and filled with the unknown. The Star Destroyer was Earth's legacy, but it was also their test, a test that could either make them the greatest force in the galaxy or lead to their destruction. As the voice from the ship fell silent, one thing became clear. Earth's future was now tied to the stars, and only time would reveal if humanity was ready for what lay ahead. With the revelation of Earth's place in the galaxy came an undeniable truth. Humanity was now part of a larger, far more dangerous world. The galactic titans were a looming threat, and the Star Destroyer, humanity's greatest weapon, was both a beacon of hope and a reminder of the immense responsibility that had been thrust upon them. The Earth that once had been a quiet, isolated planet now stood at the crossroads of galactic warfare. The question wasn't whether Earth could survive, but whether humanity was prepared to fight for its place among the stars. The world's governments quickly convened, and it became clear that Earth's leadership was fractured. Some leaders saw the Star Destroyer as a symbol of humanity's bright future, a chance to rise above the conflicts that had long plagued their planet. Others feared the potential for catastrophe, knowing that such power could easily be misused. But regardless of their differences, there was one truth they couldn't deny: the galactic titans were coming, and they would not wait for humanity to decide. The Star Destroyer, now fully operational, was the key to Earth's defense. The ship was a marvel of technology, capable of bending the laws of physics, manipulating energy fields, and producing weapons of unimaginable power. But its true potential lay not in the ship itself, but in the people who commanded it. Earth's military, hastily trained on the technology of the Star Destroyer, was thrown into a rapid crash course of galactic warfare. In the midst of this preparation, a series of coordinated attacks by the galactic titans rocked Earth's colonies on the Moon and Mars. The Titans, a ruthless and ancient species, had no mercy for the untested humans they saw as insignificant. They attacked without warning, using overwhelming force to annihilate everything in their path. Earth's allies within the Galactic Coalition tried to intervene, but the Titans were relentless. The stakes had never been higher, and Earth's response would determine if they were worthy of surviving in this vast, hostile universe. Inside the control room of the Star Destroyer, the newly appointed crew of Earth's finest officers worked tirelessly to prepare for the upcoming battle. They were nervous, unsure, and facing the unknown, but they had no choice. Their entire civilization depended on their ability to succeed. As the first wave of galactic Titan forces approached, humanity's defense was activated. The Star Destroyer's weapons systems powered up, its engines roaring to life as the ship slowly broke free from Earth's atmosphere and into the void of space. In the distance, the first Titan ships appeared, enormous, menacing warships that filled the sky with their massive, dark silhouettes. They came without warning, their weapons firing instantly, but the humans aboard the Star Destroyer were ready. As the first blast of Titan fire slammed into the ship, the shields flared and absorbed the impact, sparking with violent energy. The crew of the Star Destroyer, though inexperienced, fought with determination. The battle had begun. The Titan ships advanced relentlessly, their numbers overwhelming. Despite Earth's technological advancements, the Titans had centuries of experience in warfare, and their battle tactics were devastatingly effective. The humans, however, fought with a new sense of purpose. They fought not just for themselves, but for their home, their families, and for the future of Earth. The Star Destroyer, with its incredible firepower, was their only hope. As the battle raged on, The crew realized that they were outmatched in many ways. Their training was still too fresh, their systems untested under real combat conditions. Yet they persevered. A young officer, in charge of the Star Destroyer's communications, discovered an uncharted weakness in the Titan fleet's defense systems, a gap in their energy shields that could be exploited. With this knowledge, the humans began to fight smarter, using their newfound advantage to weaken the Titans' forces. But the Titans were not so easily defeated. As the humans grew bolder, the Titans retaliated with an intensity that shook the very foundations of the Star Destroyer. One by one, Earth's fleet was brought to the brink of destruction. The Star Destroyer itself began to take heavy damage. Its hull was pocked with blast marks, and systems began to fail. Yet the crew refused to give up. With every blow the Titans dealt, humanity's resolve only grew stronger. It was as though the weight of their survival pushed them to fight harder, to push further. In a final desperate maneuver, the Star Destroyer's captain made a bold decision. With a calculated risk, they initiated a maneuver that would take the ship directly into the heart of the Titan fleet. It was an all-or-nothing move. If they succeeded, they would cripple the Titan's forces and secure Earth's survival. If they failed, it would mean the end for them all. The Star Destroyer rocketed toward the Titans, its weapons blazing in a hailstorm of destruction. The Titans fought back fiercely, but the humans were no longer fighting like novices. They had learned, adapted, and now they were battling with the fury of those who had everything to lose. The moment was tense, the ship's systems groaning under the pressure as they maneuvered into position. And then, just as it seemed the Star Destroyer would be torn apart, the final blow was struck. A powerful beam from the ship's main weapon slammed into the heart of the Titan flagship, causing a catastrophic chain reaction. The Titan's forces faltered, and one by one, their ships began to fall. Earth had won the first battle of the war. As the dust settled, and the final remnants of the Titan fleet drifted into space, the crew of the Star Destroyer stood in silence. They had passed the ultimate test. Earth's place in the galaxy had been secured, but the war was far from over. The battle had only just begun, and Earth's future in the stars was now more uncertain than ever. Yet they had proven one thing: humanity was not to be underestimated. They would fight with every ounce of strength they had, and they would win. The silence that followed the battle was unlike anything the crew of the Star Destroyer had ever experienced. For a moment, it felt as if time itself had stopped. The remnants of the galactic Titan's fleet floated in the vast emptiness of space, their once mighty ships now shattered and broken. Earth had survived its first galactic war, and the Star Destroyer, humanity's greatest weapon, stood victorious. Yet the price of victory was clear. The ship's systems were severely damaged, its hull scarred by countless hits, and many lives had been lost in the battle. But despite the wounds, the ship remained intact, just like Earth itself. Inside the command deck, the mood was somber. The crew members, though relieved, knew that this victory was only the beginning of a long, uncertain road. The battle had proven that humanity was capable of great things, but it had also exposed how fragile Earth's position was in the galaxy. They had proven themselves in combat, but the Titans were not the only threat lurking in the stars. Other forces, perhaps more dangerous, were bound to rise against them. For the first time, the crew realized just how vast the universe was, and how small they truly were within it. "We've done it," said Captain Elias, his voice strained with exhaustion but filled with pride. "But this victory is just the first step. The galaxy won't give us a moment of peace." He stood at the front of the command center, his gaze fixed on the stars outside the viewport. The Star Destroyer had defeated the Titan's first wave, but the reality of the situation had become clear. Earth's survival hinged on more than just strength. It depended on unity, on innovation, and most of all, on the resolve to stand against any force that threatened their future. The crew gathered around, their faces a mixture of relief, disbelief, and determination. Some were still in shock, unsure of how to process the enormity of the battle they had just fought. Others were already looking ahead, preparing for the next challenge. Earth had emerged as a force to be reckoned with, but the path forward was fraught with danger. "We're not just fighting for Earth anymore," said Lieutenant Rena, the ship's tactical officer. "We're fighting for the future of humanity in the galaxy. And that means we need to think bigger than just survival. We need to take the fight to them." Her words resonated deeply with the crew. The victory over the Titans had not been just about defense. It had been about proving that humanity could take its place in the larger galactic community. But it was also about something more profound: the birth of a new era. Humanity's time of isolation was over. Now, they were an active participant in a cosmic struggle for survival, power, and influence. As the crew began to tend to the damaged systems of the Star Destroyer, Earth's leaders made their first official decision. The United Nations had already begun drafting plans to unite humanity's efforts, to create a stronger, more cohesive global military that would stand ready for whatever threats might arise in the future. The Earth Defense Alliance was born, an organization that would combine the best of humanity's resources, knowledge, and courage to protect their place in the galaxy. Meanwhile, the crew of the Star Destroyer began to prepare for the next phase of their mission. Earth's scientists, engineers, and military leaders worked in unison to repair the Star Destroyer and enhance its capabilities. They had learned valuable lessons in their first battle. The ship's advanced technology, once a mystery, had become a powerful tool, but there was still much to learn. The ship's crew was trained, but they were still novices in galactic warfare. The lessons from the battle with the Titans would guide their next steps as they readied themselves for the challenges ahead. The Star Destroyer, once a symbol of unknown terror, had become Earth's most important weapon. But it was more than just a ship. It was a symbol of humanity's determination and will to survive. As repairs were made, the ship became a beacon of hope for Earth's future in the stars. No longer would humanity cower in fear of the unknown. They had proven their strength, their ingenuity, and their resilience. They had fought back, and they had won. As the ship's engines roared to life once more, Captain Elias stood at the command deck, looking out at the stars. His eyes gleamed with pride, but also with a deep sense of responsibility. The victory was theirs, but it had come at a cost, and the war was far from over. But in that moment, he knew one thing for sure: humanity was no longer a small, insignificant planet. Earth had taken its first steps into the vast galaxy, and now it was time to take the next. The Star Destroyer would carry them into the unknown, a symbol of Earth's strength and courage. The fight for survival had just begun, but humanity had shown the universe that it was ready. With a deep breath, Captain Elias turned to his crew, his voice steady and resolute. "The galaxy will never forget Earth. We've just begun. Now, let's show them what humanity can really do." As the Star Destroyer sailed into the endless expanse of space, humanity's new journey began, one filled with uncertainty, but also with hope. The future was theirs to shape, and with the legacy of their first victory, they knew they would face whatever came next with unwavering determination. The galaxy had seen the power of Earth, and the universe would never be the same again.